I'm spraying towards the center of the top. The water drops just float on top of the fabric now. You can see when I'm flooding it, pushing off water, it is literally spray it and walk away. That is all. Ciao, everybody. It's Lamborghini time here in the overflow bay of the Dr. Beasley's clean room, which is just adjacent to me over here. Today we're talking Lamborghinis, and we're also talking convertible top protection. But first, a little bit about this Lamborghini Gallardo. So this is a kind of a neat car in the history of Lamborghini. It's kind of where veal Milanese started sounding a little bit like Wiener Schnitzel, because what's powering this Italian stallion is actually a German power plant that is an Audi-sourced V10. So this, of course, lends itself to a little bit more reliability and other things like that. So, obviously, as it's nice, as many previous Lamborghini owners can tell you, often you go out for a drive, with crossed fingers and a prayer that you get home. Having the Germans now get involved into Lamborghini obviously brought a little bit more engineering expertise, a little bit more consistency, a little bit more reliability. As far as other aspects of it, we did lose the beautiful sound of the V12. So it is a V10, 5-liter V10. I believe it's 520 horse, 376 foot-pounds of torque if memory serves. 0 to 60 time, roughly around 4.1 seconds. Top speed of 195 miles an hour. But the thing that really, kind of separates this from most other models in the Lamborghini realm is the sheer production. This is, the 308 was to Ferrari as the Gallardo is to Lamborghini. This was something, they produced over 14,000 units. One of the things I noticed when this car first came in here was water sticking all over it. We actually did a quick decon and coating with our Formula 1201 on this. But I also noticed that there was water sticking all over the convertible top as well. And that's obviously something that, you have to take care of that as well. I wanted to go ahead and bring this car in, and so I can demonstrate for you guys how easy the install is on the Dr. Beasley's fabric coating kit, but also the hydrophobicity and the performance that you're going to get out of it. So we're gonna look at the whole package, soup to nuts. So speaking of fabric coating kits, here's what you can expect with the fabric coating kit. We do have another option. There is also our carpet and upholstery protection. Now that's something that's available in a 12-ounce bottle. It's water-based, which is really nice in the fact that you can obviously lower price point. It can go further, but of course it doesn't quite have the backbone of the fabric coating kit. So if you go carpet and upholstery protection, you're talking 1-year service life. But because it's water-based, it's 24 to 48-hour cure time, which is perfectly fine if you're doing that at home. You have all the time in the world to leave the car overnight. If you're doing this professionally, though, you're really going to want to go for the fabric coating kit for 2 main reasons. 1, 5-year service life, and probably even more importantly than the service life is the fact that it is a 1-hour cure time. So this means this car can get delivered today. That's where the fabric coating kit really pays dividends, not only in the terms of the durability in 5 years, but also only a 1-hour cure time. So it's a fairly straightforward process. We have, like I said, it's a 2-step. We're gonna have a prep step and then the actual coating. But again, even before we get to the prep product, we have to prepare the substrate. Like anything, your prep is paramount. If you want the coating to perform as advertised, your preparation must be on point. So let's go ahead and have a little bit closer look at the convertible top to see what kind of condition it's in. But also you're going to notice I already put towels all around. And the reason I have towels all around is just basically to avoid the overspray. You know what I mean? That's why not be cautious? Do we actually, like we said, we've already coated the car. So we want to be careful when we are doing a prep process or even spraying the coat on, whatever it is. Let's avoid getting overspray all over the car. So, as best we could, we covered the paint and glass with towels. But let's have a little bit closer look now at what we're dealing with as far as contamination. You can see actually quite a bit on the surface. You got little fuzzies, you got some other stuff. Like I said, we did wash it, but it's definitely, we see this is all the kind of stuff we need to get. All this, these little fuzzes and stuff like that, these need to come off. So, this is when it's lint roller time. Or if you don't have a lint roller, I'm gonna show you a little trick. So, you got some packing tape laying around, sticky side facing out. I'm just gonna go around my hand like so. And it does a pretty good job. So we are back here with our fabric coating kit. I have now prepped the top, just making sure I get my towels pretty well straightened up as best I can. Again, to try to avoid any overspray in any of the areas that we're going to either apply the preparation product to or the actual coating itself. So again, just as they say, measure twice, cut once. So let's just make sure we got everything kind of as we want it, covering up as much of the paint as we can. So again, not necessary, but I think it's a good idea to do so. All right, Dr. Beasley's fabric coating kit. This is the lovely box that you will receive. You always get the little CD case, typically your invoices in there, instructions, stuff like that. And then you're gonna get 2 bottles. They are both 4-ounce bottles. So you're gonna have, a convertible top like this. We're talking, what, a 1/4 ounce at best? When you're talking consumption rates, and this, goes across the board with all of Dr. Beasley's products. This is why we use some of the most expensive ingredients that are available, because we want to create an efficient process. We also want to deliver, the performance, but it's also about creating an efficient process. Like I say, it's not always cost per ounce, guys. Cost per correction, cost per treatment, cost per car, a lot of things, but can't simply just look at cost per ounce. You're not looking at the whole picture then. So we're back with the fabric coating prep step. So the idea here is, yes, it's a prep step. So whenever we say prep, it's cleansing, but it is also laying down that matrix of anchor points that's going to be waiting to accept that coating that's going to follow the prep step. Basically, application, fairly simple. We're going to spray on. I like to give it a little bit of dwell time, and I'm talking 30 seconds to a minute. Now, again, anytime you do time, I hate giving time just because you have to be aware of your environment. Hot summer, super humid, or if you live in the high desert of Utah and it's super arid, all these things are going to have an effect. The most important thing you want to remember is we don't want it drying on the surface. We want dwell time for the chemical to work, but at the same point, we don't want it drying on the surface. The other thing I'm just going to note is the towels I'm using for this process are kind of like tier 2 towels. If you have tier 2 towels that you use, for maybe other purposes, you can come back potentially, if the towels are obviously, you don't want them full of grease and stuff like that. But I'm saying older coating towels that maybe you wouldn't be totally comfortable putting on paint, but still have softness and still are functional. That's a perfect towel to use on something like this. Because obviously, we're not worried about micro marring and scratching here. If you're doing this professionally, it's about not being wasteful. So this is a good opportunity to use some tier 2 towels or some B-stock towels. So shake and spray. And again, I'm not looking to saturate the surface. I'm thinking morning dew. I just want, a little bit of this sitting on the surface. That's about it. And I'm going to come around to the other side. Do the buttress, windshield. And you notice I'm kind of aiming from the outside in. Again, I'm just trying to avoid that overspray issue. So if I'm constantly spraying towards the inside, I don't want to spray like this. I want to spray like this. I'm constantly spraying towards the inside. So, and now I'm going to wipe off. So now if you were doing interior fabric, the process would be a little bit different just because you're going to have to deal with a nap. So convertible tops, at least most that I know, do not have a nap. So usually when a fabric has a nap, you can kind of see it laying this way or kind of laying that way, kind of like Alcantara has a nap. If you have a nap, what you're going to want to do is brush the nap all one direction, spray, and then brush the nap the other direction, spray again, and then wipe off. So that's what you're going to do if you have a nap. This convertible top does not have a nap, so we don't have to worry about that. So again, all I'm doing is spraying and wiping. Just one little area right here. No big deal, but let's see if we can make that a little bit better. So if I'm going to just spot treat an area, I'm going to go ahead and just spray directly into my microfiber. And I'm just going to kind of spot treat it. Apply it. Give it a couple seconds dwell time. Blot it off. The initial, I like to blot and then I wipe. I like to blot just because I like to try to soak up as much as the product as possible without agitation. And then do the wipe to try to get any remnants off. So, I mean, again, this is over a 10-year-old car. So, I mean, top is not in perfect shape, but it's in pretty decent shape, all things considered. So, looks pretty good. I am going to give it a couple of minutes here just to kind of air dry, because again, when I come back with the coating, I want this to be totally and completely dry. So go ahead, give it a couple of minutes, just make sure this thing can air out, and I'm going to get this little fuzz that just dropped on there off, and we're going to come back here, like I said, maybe 15 minutes or so. Again, I just want to make sure the surface is totally dry to the touch, which is easy enough. We can just go like that. And it's just a little teeny tiny tip damp. So I want to make sure, again, this is completely dry before we put on the coating. So let's give it a few minutes and then we'll be right back. All right, everybody. So we're here. It's almost time, but let's review the process. So car came in, we washed the car, and then we inspected the top. We had fuzzies and all sorts of stuff all over it. So we did makeshift lint roller and get all that kind of stuff off. Then we came back with the fabric coating prep. We sprayed and we wiped. Now, coming back to coating, you see again, I've got towels laid out all around because this again is a little bit of a unique process. You professionals out there are going to love this because it is literally spray it and walk away. That is all. We're not cross-hatching, we're not leveling, we're not wiping. We just want to spray even coverage and then let it cure for 1 hour. So we have our fabric coating right here in an atomizer spray bottle. Give it a good shake. Now again, when we want to spray, you're going to notice I'm spraying towards the center of the top because I want to get the top and not the paint. This is where these towels come in handy because I can just lean this towel up a little bit and get that leading edge of that top without getting any paint. And then you're gonna find you might have some tricky areas, kind of like around this buttress right here. But what I'm gonna do, like around here, and I got a little piece of glass, I'm actually gonna spray onto the towel, and I'm gonna go pretty heavy-handed when I go into the towel because I wanna do a transfer. I'm actually going to just try and do my best and transfer it on. The ideal way, again, is to spray directly, but I want to be conscious of that glass there. So I'm going to try and do a transfer like this. So again, I'm spraying it fairly heavily. I just don't want to spray it towards the car. I'm spraying away from the car, but I'm saturating this area of the towel. So that way I can come back and hit this area that's kind of down in the corner of this buttress. And I can come back just with a quick spray. There we go. Let's come around to the other side. Same process. And manipulate the towels. So I'm sure to get that leading edge of the convertible top without getting any of the paint. Gonna come back just in that little corner of the buttress by the rear window. I just get it real nice and damp. And lean over and just do it by hand. That's it. So at this point, we're gonna let this sit, let it air dry for 1 hour, and then we should be good to go. So we're gonna come back on Thursday. So in 3 days, we're gonna be back here with this car, most likely in the clean room. And we're gonna test hydrophobicity. We're gonna test hydrophobicity specifically on this top, but I think we might also take a look at how Formula 1201 is doing on a Lamborghini. Okay, we are now over in the Dr. Beasley's clean room for some hydrophobicity testing. So when it came in for a wash, it was clear as day that this car needed protection, not only on the paint, but very obviously on the convertible top as well. So, I mean, just to give you an idea, what a point of what we're trying to do here is, you can see how the water drops just float on top of the fabric now. You know, so instead of absorbing in there, and it's not only hydrophobic, but it's also going to push off contaminants. That's going to make it easier down the road. If we kind of look again, I'm going to look on this buttress here. I mean, again, see how the water just slides right down. The water just does not want to stick in this fabric. It just wants to roll right off. So, you know, again, that is the idea. What we're looking for is to have the fabric coating push off the water, push off the contamination. As I said before, when we got this car in, we'll flip back to the video, you can see there is water sticking all over this thing, both the top and the paint. So, you know what, let's really test some hydrophobicity. I mean, I love sitting here with the pipette and everything and going around and showing you guys the pretty little beads and the action with the water coming off, but let's break out the big nozzle and let's really throw some water on this thing. All right, got the big hose out. Let's see how this convertible top. You know, we're gonna have a look at the paint too, folks. So first, let's look at the action on the convertible top, and then I'm gonna jump into the paint just because, you know, again, we actually posted a video last week up to our YouTube page all about beading versus sheeting, which, you know what? I'm gonna take an opportunity right now. Hey folks, you know what? Great time to go ahead and like and subscribe to the Dr. Beasley's YouTube page. We work really hard to bring you this content, and you can reward us for bringing you this content by go ahead and liking the Dr. Beasley's YouTube page. And folks, remember, do tickle that notification bell so that way you can be notified next time we drop a cool new video. So anyway, alluding to the video we dropped last week about beading versus sheeting, this Lamborghini has that same coating that the car we featured in that video did, and it's our Formula 1201, which is a sheeting coating. So we're gonna have a little look at that too, just to show you the performance of that. But for now, let's see how this goes. You can see when I'm flooding it, pushing off water beautifully. All right, let's flood the panel. And again, what I want you guys to see is look how the water gathers together and dumps off. Gathering together and dumping off. So again, this is the point of a sheeting coating, is that you put water on it, the water comes together and then dumps off the panel. And so what am I left with right here? Dry. Now you still get some beading. You know, again, as we discussed in our other videos, beading versus sheeting, you know, it's just a matter of hydrophobic versus less hydrophobic, but still looking good there. Again, let's try a little bit. You can see water, even though I'm flooding the top up here, it's simply rolling off. And again, keep in mind, because we call it the fabric coating kit, doesn't mean that it's solely for interior. It's for exterior as well. So any fabric inside or outside of the car. You're talking a 5-year service life and a 1 hour-ish cure time. Of course, cure times vary depending on environmental factors, especially depending on humidity. So thank you again for everyone for stopping by the Dr. Beasley's Clean Room. I appreciate you checking out our fabric coating kit video. Of course, again, get back over to the Dr. Beasley's YouTube channel and be sure to like and subscribe so that way we can bring you more content and you can be aware when we bring you that additional content. And of course, I will always finish up. In Italy, they call it the Autostrada. In Germany, it's the Autobahn. They know how to drive over there, folks. And you know what they do? They don't hang out in the left lane and just cruise. They understand that cruising is for the right lane or for the middle lane. But if you're in the left lane, you better be passing someone, because if you're not passing someone and you're in the left lane, time to move over to the right. Thanks again, everybody, for stopping in. We'll see you next time.